Hey, what's up, y'all? Good morning. Good morning. How y'all doing this morning? I hope everybody is having a great start to your morning. Welcome to Sun Slappers. We are here on the Mr. Trust the Process page. I am Gil Garrett. I am the originator, not the originator of Sun Slappers, but as far as my team is concerned, and one of the ones to bring it to our community here at Trust the Process. And I'm grateful for the opportunities that I have to do what I do and how I do it and how I do it for you, and in exchange what you do for me. And so I just want to thank y'all for helping build the community. We are growing, and I appreciate the like, shares, and subscribe. And like I tell anybody new to the community and new to what we're doing here, is that if there's anything that I'm sharing that you can use it. And if you believe that it will help somebody else, to share it so we can get the information out there, so we can build the Trust the Process community, because all of us are uniquely designed. We all have an individual process, and that process makes us a champion of who we are individually, and that can help somebody else. So I'm just about helping other people get to the best life that they can live, but then also helping you get to the best life you can live, because ultimately it helps me. That's you can call it selfish, you can call it whatever you want, but the more I help you, helps me. And it's a selfish intentions. And I think a lot of times we don't want to put that out there. We don't want people to understand that by helping somebody else is really helping you. Like, it's really, benefiting, edifying you as a person. And I'm not talking about for the purposes of ego and things of that nature. I'm talking about for the purposes of you have a salute. I'm a real person. And I say this all the time. If you've been with me for a long time, you understand this. I say this all the time. There are real people in this world looking for real people with real solutions. And they're tired of all the propaganda. They're tired of all of, just trying to not fit it, people just blabbering whatever they repeating from somewhere else. They're looking for you. They're looking for the things that you went through. So this is not a special edition of Sun Slappers, but what I plan on sharing today is, and I think I put it in the description. Why do you do what you do? Why are you even listening to me? Why are you scrolling on the internet? Why are you trying to find some type of motivation or answers to certain questions that you look for? Why? Why are you even taking the time out to even do exactly what you're doing? That's the question. Because if you can't answer that, then when it gets time to really perform or do whatever you think that you want to do, you're not going to be able to do it, because loving something is not always enough, because you're not going to always feel good about it. Having great emotional response and excitement about something is not always going to be something that you're going to be excited about. So why do you do what you do? And so I get a lot of these questions. So I decided to start with me first. And that's the best way I know how, is that if I start with myself as an example, then we can get to where we want to get to even faster, right? So this young man right here is a 7-year-old little boy who just was so excited to get his first electric race car set. And if you see the remote, you see the background, you know what it is. And yes, I've always been a fly kid with the butterfly collars, you know what I mean? So I'm excited. My cousin helped me put it together, and that gave me my first thrill of just, not just playing with the set, but it introduced me to this moment right here, introduced me to something that I could control, and something that I could gauge my wins. I could, I could be excited about something, and I could just get out of life, right? And you see that little desk behind me? That little desk behind me too is where I learned how to do my homework, where my grandmother sat out with me, to do the things that that kids do, right? Right. So I was innocent, you know what I'm saying? And I was just, I was really, really intrigued with that set, right? You know, um, but then you know how we grow and we move into different spaces. And so this is a picture of my granny and me. And as you could take a look, that little boy turned into a very um, inquisitive, a very why is this happening to me? What is life happening? There were some transitions between that little boy and you see this little boy, you see this young man right here. Now my grandmother was the only woman in my life at that particular point in time that felt me loved me unconditionally, that no matter what, whether I was drinking or smoking, whether I was high, and you could tell in the picture I was high, you know what I'm saying? I just loved my grandmother, and my grandmother didn't reject me. My grandmother took me as I am, and as most grandmothers do, you navigate through that. Now this is in high school, and I'll transition on to a few other things too. But this is in high school, and so as I get through high school, and I'm going through the whys and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? One of my first friends, my homeboys, when in college, outside of the trifecta, me, Charles, Donnie, me, Chuck, Donnie, and Kev, the trifecta, the Alpha Omega starters. You know what I'm saying? This guy right here, Sonny, Clarence Hogan, was the guy who jumped me into serving kids, using my talents to serve kids. Sonny was very good at, computers and speaking, and he's a comedian now. He's living in Chicago. He's doing the same things that he's been doing, that he started out doing, helping kids, running youth programs on the south side of Chicago. Very successful dude, doing this thing, right? And Sonny said, "Hey, listen, man, I'm in AmeriCorps. You know what I'm saying? You at OU, we got this AmeriCorps. Let me introduce you to some people, and we're gonna get you, into AmeriCorps helping kids in the Pontiac School District." And this is where I started. And this is before my first kid. This is before my first marriage. This is before everything. And you see that smile? That smile is that kid right there. So I could relate to going back when I first got that race car track, right? I could relate going back to that. And I got that smile again. And so I wanna leave it there because I told you this is only gonna be between Sun Slappers is 5 to 10 minutes. But what's your why? Like why are you doing what you do? Like what motivated you to do what you do? And I'm gonna stay on this vein and keep telling my story, right? So come back tomorrow morning, and I'm gonna share a little bit more about when we had this conversation about why did you do that? What made you get to that point, right? So for me, this young man right here was the start of it all, of getting back to that happiness, that joy feeling. And so giving back to kids and working in the Pontiac School District, that's where I started. That's what gave me that joy. And it just lit me back up again and started that fire. But what it didn't do is it did not take care of this individual right here. Right? It did not take care of that individual right there. That young man was still confused. He grew into some things and he had to make some changes. And that's me, right? It's me. And we all have this process that we have to go through. So I keep my receipts. You know what I'm saying? I keep my receipts. And then ultimately, and keeping my receipts to show you that this is real. Like this is not something that's just made up, right? So you in this community, we about keeping it real, keeping it a buck. But then, you know what I'm saying? If we're about being transparent as we want to be, right? Are we comfortable in being transparent? That's your space. You may not be comfortable sharing things like this or pictures or images or things like that. I had to learn to be. I had to learn to get into that space. And so even as an adult, I'm still formulating who I am and moving in spaces that I need to be. And you could get this version, right? We're gonna talk about this guy. We're gonna talk about him throughout this process. And again, we're gonna talk about who you are and why you have various versions of yourself, right? Like you have various versions of yourself. You got to get to know you and be comfortable with you and not let nobody deter you from that. Like, don't let them trick you off the street because they trick themselves off the street because they're not comfortable in all their versions. Because this the same guy who just received the Lifetime Achievement Award from the President of the United States of America, Joe Biden. Yeah. So this young man right here who found his way turned into this man right here, this young adult right here, navigating his way through life to get to this guy right here. All along being created and had this person inside that's still there, still got his swag, to receive the Lifetime Achievement Award, and then being able to have a career, not just in education, but to be this guy right here. And then also have his love for music and passion and share with this guy right here. But then ultimately at the same time living a lifestyle and being able to share across the world and hit major stages across this country was this guy right here. Ultimately, again, receiving this award from the President of the United States, a Lifetime Achievement Award here. But it all started here. And you don't get to any of those other spaces without talking about here. And so we got a minute left. That's it. That's all I got for you today. We're going to talk about it. We're going to be more intentional about it. We're going to have great conversations about it. Listen, enjoy the rest of your day. It is Sun Slappers. This is season 1. I'm Gil Garrett, your host. This is what we do. This is who we are. And you don't get to where it's not magic overnight, right? But you and I gonna work it through together. I had plenty of coaches and mentors to help me to get me to where I needed to be. And we're gonna talk about who specifically need to know your business and who don't either. This is Trust the Process. I'm Gil Garrett, again, your host. Thank you so much for building a community. Again, like, share, and subscribe, man. Like, share, and subscribe. We need to build this community up because we all have a process. We gotta learn how to trust that particular process. And God is the one that's going to reveal our purpose through it, man. God bless, man. God bless y'all. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all have a good morning. Peace.
You can hope